Hey guys, today we're going to stop working on circles and we're going to look at angles. We're only going to look at angles one day, which really isn't enough time, but it's all the time I'm going to be able to give you. Hopefully, we'll be able to spiral back and look at some of these things as we discover area, which is the main part of the rest of this unit. But so really don't put this lesson off. This is an important lesson because you're not going to see a whole lot of it the rest of the unit. It's also based on the idea that you already know a lot of these things. For example, that a square has 360 degrees or that a triangle has 180 degrees. So if you don't know these things, it's going to make learning these things a little bit more difficult. So really, again, make sure that you understand these notes or know what's going on. So we're going to be able to find missing angles using geometry. Using algebra, but it's going to be based on a knowledge of geometric figures. That is the degrees that are in certain things. Again, example like a square or like a triangle. So instead of you trying to remember all those facts, I've listed them here in these notes. So, for example, if you look at A, it says the triangle adds up to 180 degrees. So, if you have a triangle, whether it's a right triangle or not a right triangle, if you add up all three of the degrees on any triangle, it will always be 180 degrees. And that is something that you're supposed to know as a seventh grader. Quadrilateral, B, the second one, that is any four-sided shape. So that could be a square, that could be a rectangle. Those are two shapes you know a lot about. 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. It's each corner that adds up to 360 degrees. But look at this shape here. This shape also has four sides, one, two, three, four, and it has four angles, one, two, three, four. Those four angles, if you measured them, would equal 360 degrees. So all four-sided shapes with straight lines as sides will add up to 360 degrees. Complementary. Now, you might not know about complementary, but most likely you know about a right angle. I just drew a picture of a right angle, and that is a right angle. That is one angle that equals 90 degrees. But if that 90-degree angle was actually made up of two smaller angles, those two smaller angles are called complementary. They add up to 90 and they share a side. Letter D, the next one, supplementary. This straight line right here, believe it or not, is 180 degrees. It would maybe make more sense if I drew a line straight up here, because you know that this is a 90-degree angle. And if I make on the other side, that is a 90-degree angle. So together they equal 180. Okay, so a straight line is 180 degrees. Now, supplementary angles are two angles that add up to 180 degrees. For example, I just drew a picture of two 90-degree angles. But you could have a straight line and you could have an angle here and an angle here. It could be slanted like that. If they add up to 180 degrees, they're called supplementary angles. Now, I'm going to show you vertical angles. We're really not going to do much with them, but I'm supposed to show them to you. So let me show them to you. That's pretty easy. All right, I'm going to draw these two straight lines, and I've created four angles. This angle and this angle will just naturally be equal to one another. Those are called vertical angles. Now, these two angles here, I'll make a bigger line. They're also equal to each other, and they're called vertical angles also. So vertical angles are always equal. All right, so let's look at how to use algebra to find a missing side. So right now I'm looking at number 1, and these two angles are supplementary. So the first thing you have to do is say, well, what do supplementary angles add up to? 180 degrees. Now I have enough information to find the missing angle. So now let's use algebra. I know that if I take the first angle, 135, there's the first angle, and I add it to the second angle, which we call x, that together they'll equal 180. All right, so I figured out what the supplementary angles add up to. I created an equation. The third step says, which by the way is right here, solve algebraically. So we're going to use algebra. Using algebra, we did a lot of this at the beginning of the year. I'm going to get x by itself. When I do that, I find that the angle is 45 degrees. Next one, number 2. I am looking at complementary angles. These two angles equal 90 degrees. That's the first thing your brain has to figure out. Okay, now let's use algebra. The first angle is x, the second angle is 29. It doesn't matter what order you write those in. Now to solve algebraically, I need to get x by itself, so I will subtract the 29 from both sides. X equals 61 degrees. By the way, these are all in degrees. Let's move on. This one here is a quadrilateral. It is a four-sided shape. And so all of those angles are going to add up to 360 degrees. So let's add them. Let's create an algebraic equation. I'm going to take the first angle, x. I'm going to add it to the second angle, 100. I'm going to add it to the third angle, 65. I'm going to add it to the fourth angle, 89. And I know that they're all going to equal 360. Now, if I add up these three angles that they gave me, they add up to 254. And now I have a one-step equation, just like the first two problems. I'm going to take the 254 away from both sides, and I end up with 106 degrees. So I know that that missing angle is 106. Let's look at the next one, number 4. It's a triangle. I'm going to move my picture up here. Okay, a triangle equals 180 degrees. So, first off, do you know what this is? This is a 90-degree angle. So I have three angles here. I know that the first one's 90, the other one is 45, and the other one is x, which means I don't know what it is. But I do know that all of these angles are going to add up to 180. So I add up the first two angles, and then I'm going to use algebra to solve. So x equals 45 degrees. Doing great, almost done. Next one. What is number 5? This is 180 degrees altogether. So I'm going to take my two angles. Now this one is a little bit differently. I'm going to give you a hint. There's going to be one just like this on the test. So this one's different because it doesn't just say x, it says 5x. So watch how we do this one. These two angles will equal 180. I'm going to subtract the one angle, which is what we've been doing pretty much this entire time. Now the difference is x is not by itself. There's still a 5 next to it. So to solve for x, I now will divide by that 5. Because 5 divided by 5 is 1. And now I have x by itself. 50, I have to do the same thing to both sides. 50 divided by 5 is 10. So x equals 10 degrees. All right, so there's 2 steps on that one. Last one. It's a triangle, so I know it's going to be 180 degrees. So let's add up the 3 angles. I have 65, I have 57, and I have 2x, and they all equal up. If I add them all up, they equal 180. So I'm going to add the first 2 angles, and that's going to be 122 plus 2x. Now to get x by itself, I need to get rid of the 122. 2x comes down, and I have 58 left on the other side. Now to get x by itself, I divide by 2 on both sides. And I end up with 29 degrees. So that is also a 2-stepper. You had to do something additional because x was not by itself at the very beginning. There was a number next to it. All right. Good luck with the assignment, and I will see you next time. See you later. Bye-bye.